processor and up to 8 GB of RAM so you can have multiple apps open and play games at the same time.
Greetings, travelers. Well met and welcome to round number 9, the final Swiss round of the DreamHack Hearthstone Grand Prix here in Jönköping, Sweden. It's been 2 long days, or 1.5 long days at least, of Swiss action, and now these last few players are going to be battling out for those 9-0, 8-1, and 7-2 records, which will see them through to the top 16. Joining me for this all-important final round is Raven and Lorinda. How are you guys doing? How are you enjoying that incredible series that we just watched? Lorinda, you got to cast. Raven, we heard 1 or 2 of your thoughts, but we were sitting back there watching it together. I know you had fun with that Swashbuckler.
Yeah, 100%. I just couldn't believe it. At first, it was just like, Swash is crazy. Just the draw was nuts. Because this, you know, gives you a random card that you can deal with. Mage cards, there are things that can happen. Could have got Fireball. Tome. Another card that, you know, generates extra cards, and the fact that it just had to be Fireball to realistically win the game. Ice Block would have sure prolonged the game, but I don't think it would have made a difference to the result. But that Fireball was absolutely huge, and watching Wonder just like go nuts is kind of why everyone enjoys watching him play.
It was the tease, right? That's why Hearthstone has the best script writers in the business, because we were all sat there like, oh, Swashbuckler into Fireball, easy. I've seen people tweeting that they posted in Twitch chat Swashbuckler into Fireball as well. But the scriptwriters went that next level. They had the Kabbalist Tome tease thrown in there as well. That's why we are on top of our game. But we, of course, should move on to all-important round number 9 action. The game we're going to be featuring between Vardu and Matty. And I feel like we've run this one into the ground, but again, 2 players who are not massive names, who are standing here on the DreamHack stage ready to make a name for themselves. Lorinda, how do you feel about it? This has been the story pretty much every round throughout this tournament
so far.
And
I want to stress something here. Assuming it's not a different Matty, and there's more than one person called Matty in Hearthstone, this could be his 3rd top 16, and nobody knows who he is.
Okay.
So we need to be careful when we say, yeah, these guys trying to make this is how hard it is to make a name amongst this field of top players. There are players that sneak into top 16s, top 8s, and they go under the radar. I mean, I've vaguely heard of him, but a player that if he makes yet another one, again, assuming it's the same Matty, that's pretty insane. Vardu, on the other hand, he's been to some DreamHacks. He's played, he's done okay, he's done nothing special, and he's one definitely with a chance to make a name for a breakout performance.
Yeah, I think there's actually, it's a great result to actually get into top 16, to get through a Swiss tournament this difficult. But I think there's a big step between winning that top 16 match into top 8. You are playing on day 3 then, and that's finals day. So I think that's potentially how some names kind of fly under the radar that hit a top 16 and potentially don't go any further.
And I think
so
he
it's
only
very
plays
easy to you know, miss names like that.
I think he only plays Winter as well. He got top 8 at 16, and he got another result in 15. So if it's again, this is why I'm not sure it's the same guy. Because
just some kind of opposite bear he hides during the summer.
But, I mean, it is a curse that some of these players do have to bear, because even getting through to top 16, because, what are you laughing at? Because of the nature of our time constraints, we don't even broadcast every round of 16 games. So sometimes you just low roll, and all of that hard work, you don't get paid off with that stream exposure that you might feel like you deserve. Both of these players, final piece of housekeeping, sat at a 6-2 record with strong tiebreakers. So this is win and in, lose and go home.
Yeah, and even the players with slightly better results have still got sort of a scary last round match, right? Because tiebreakers, at the end of the day, decide everything in this tournament. So top 16, you could go in feeling confident-ish, but if you've checked the tiebreakers, you maybe took some early losses, or losses to some players that then had a bad record. Things start getting a little bit scary.
And you never feel safe. You go 7-1 and you lose. Even if you lost in round 7, you're still sort of 8. You're still thinking, going, this might go. It won't go wrong, guys. If you're on that score, you're good. But they still think it might go wrong.
Well, I think as well, what's important for these players when they enter a round like this is win your match. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. There is all you have control over is the match you're going to play. win it, and then see what happens. There's no point worrying about anything else.
Yep. Well, there is no point worrying about anything else right now because the picks and bans are ready and we're very close to getting into the action. So let's see how these lineups are going to break down for these two players. Looks like Vardu is going to be rocking Priest, Druid, Warlock. Warlock, a deck that is coming more and more into its own as this tournament progresses. And it's Druid, Mage, and Warlock on the other side from Matty. Matty has had his Priest banned. Vardu is losing out on the Rogue. First thoughts over to you, Raven.
Yeah, so it looks like Vardu is playing a similar strategy that we saw a little bit earlier with this Warlock, banning the Priest out. So feels like a control-style Warlock there, whereas Matty's more than likely playing Zoo by banning out the Rogue and leaving, the Druid and the Priest open. So looking forward to if this is just another control Warlock. I actually really enjoy that deck. Maybe more so because it's only a deck that's as strong. It looks really strong from what we've seen because ladder doesn't exist in this tournament. You can't just run into Priest if you don't want to. You can just ban it out.
And this is that 3-2 lineup that Admirable likes to talk about for Matty. No Rogue, meaning he's trying to play more counter strategies than just playing the best decks.
What do you feel about Warlock? I think Warlock has really come into its own.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about, the fourth deck throughout this tournament. You and I in particular, the quest for that fourth deck. Do you think Warlock has staked a claim for it?
We've got a fourth class. I don't know if we've got a fourth deck yet because
Sure.
there's two very distinct decks being played in Warlock, and I don't think we've got an answer as to which one is the right one yet.
Okay. Would it be cruel to ask either of you for predictions going into this very crucial game?
I thought you were going to make a Warlock pun then, saying cruel.
That would have been a very smart thing to do. You're way ahead of me
is
for
a
once.
cool taskmaster, so it'd be a warrior pun.
For once.
Right.
I will go, if it's a control Warlock, I'm going with that. That's my prediction, control Warlock.
Fair enough.
I'm going with Matty because I feel sad that we haven't hyped him enough, so let's go with Matty.
Wow,
Yeah.
pity vote from Lorinda.
It seems
I'm a nice guy.
It seems like his hard work does deserve some recognition at this point, so I'm rooting for him as well, but we will see all the action coming right up now. Do not go anywhere, guys. Crucial final round Swiss action coming right at you.
Round number 9, the final round of Swiss. Players have been battling it out for a day and a half, maybe even longer
Yeah,
than a
it
day
feels
and
like
a half,
a 4-day
actually.
event crammed into 3 days sometimes.
Exactly. They have a day and a half. The players who are going to qualify to top 16 have more matches today and potentially even more matches tomorrow. So much Hearthstone, Lorinda, to be played over a few days. So many different decks, so many different strategies, and we're going to see a clash of 2 strategies right now as we kick off the game from round number 9.
And they're off, and it's your favourite deck. It is a Quest Mage.
I thought you were going to say Kazakus Priest. But yeah.
And it's a Kazakus Priest. Your favourite 2 decks.
Yeah, so this matchup here, Matty bringing the Quest Mage. I will remove as much bias as possible from my personal dislike of this deck. Not because it isn't powerful, but because I don't like the style. But anyway, never mind. In this matchup, I've heard a lot of players who, the players who have put time into Priest. Like, not just, oh, it's a good deck, so I'm going to play with it. They have put time. You look at some of the players who have been building these lists and really pushing them out there. And I've heard a few of them say, like, actually, the Quest Mage, you can get the work done. Priest seems like a relatively slow deck, which normally Quest Mage punishes. But if you can just get the Razaranduin, which is the story of Priest, and start just piling away, well, guess what? Freezes don't matter versus Priest. They just don't matter. They don't exist. You're not really relying on minion pressure. So Vardu might be in a good position here, and he's got off to a okay start, just having some cycle from Thanos there.
Yeah, and just to clarify, the minion pressure doesn't matter often, because you can generate a turn 5, turn 6 board, which is pretty formidable with Priest, especially if you do get the Kazakus start, which he has now got. If he just picks up something he can play on turn 4 and maybe get into a Kazakus, give everything +4, that can get naughty.
Yeah, it can happen, just as much as it can happen with any deck, right? If the freezes aren't there, well, then yes, you're going to get some minions down and start doing some damage. But I think the importance here with this Kazakus is, as always for this Priest, and especially in this matchup, when you have a timer, Vardu will be looking for draw 2 cards minimum from the, if he goes for a 5 Kazakus spell, of course. But he'll be going for card draw at every single cost and expense because he needs Anduin. Has the Raza, has a lot of spells, has the coin.
Yeah, with that Raza, it makes things... And there's Anduin as well. That's the full house of good stuff. Just needs the Velen. And that's where the chip damage comes in. If you can now make a plan which involves a bit of chip damage, that reduces the need to draw your Velen to finish them off. Maybe do 15 damage and then do it with the Anduin.
And something that's quite important as well is one potion was picked, draw a card was hit by Vardu. Now the tough choice. The armor means actually nothing, so it's the choice between demon and health. Gone for the health, so it was a mixture of us both, Lorinda. When our powers combine, it gets health, draw a card.
Nice to see him taking the 1 mana spell. There's not enough time for you to empty this hand everywhere, so you either want the 1 mana spell to use with your Anduin, or you just want it to get on with it now.
Yeah, and before we saw the potion there, just to finish off my point, was that no need to apologize, Linda, I interrupted myself. The ice barrier was procced very early. Whereas if that was ice block, as priest, you can actually hit the points of similar to freeze mage mirrors, where you never attack with a minion even if you have them, because you heal them for 8 to a certain extent. Whereas if the Anduin comes down quickly, which it probably will do, then you never need to attack again because you can just hero power them down and avoid the +8. But Matty has already gained 8, so that's a nice bonus for him at least. Sorry about that noise if you guys heard that. That was pretty loud.
Vardu. That was me. No. Vardu...
Be quiet, Lorinda.
Making the decision here not to play Raza. He's got 2 turns in which he can choose to play it. Just valuing the little bit of board presence. For the reasons I said, he might not need to find Velen if he can get some damage in with this Raza, if he can get some damage in with his Kazakus.
And like, the heal this turn gains him nothing. He is on full health. So he'd play a 5/5 for it to die and then have nothing to do on turn 6, realistically, right?
Yeah, and turn 6 is just a dead turn. Although he did have to consider Lyra options.
Yeah, but all the spells you want to play with Lyra...
you got hand already.
Well, also, you have Raza and Anduin, so you don't need to make things happen, right? Your hand is looking absolutely perfect here. Here comes the Raza, here comes the potion as well. Extra bit of health for the minions, and drawing a card setting up for, frankly, pretty ludicrous Anduin follow-up.
Yeah, and the Radiant Elemental is just going to mean this is almost an OTK. Not quite, but it's going to be a few short, obviously, without Velen. Because everything's just going to cost nothing on 1, and he's got a whole bunch of that stuff.
Exactly, and even if this happens across multiple turns, what Vardu can do is he can go Anduin, you know, like Hero Power, Anduin, Hero Power. Next turn, he can use either some spells or go Lyra, Coin, Radiant Elemental, go, 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 and then Lyra cycles with a Radiant Elemental on the board. And there is a chance that over the next 2 turns, Vardu could just win this game.
We do need to pay attention, because we've been looking at Vardu's hand a lot here, to Matty's hand. He's getting there pretty rapidly. Not rapidly enough, I don't think, but he's got the makings of the pieces he needs. If he can complete the quest, if he can delay things 2 or 3 turns somehow, there is still a chance for him to take this.
Yeah, frustrating that the Babbling Book was probably one of the worst pulls he could get with that Pyroblast, because even with the Sorcerer's Apprentice reduction, it's not good, right? You know, it's still an expensive card to use to play the quest.
When we saw that Cabala's Tome that was crazy yesterday, Pyroblast was losing the game by not being a cheap spell of any kind.
Let's see what Vardu goes for now. He, in fact, did not coin the Anduin this turn, went for the taunts instead, which means that he's saving the coin. He sees the coin as 2 damage instead of a slightly quicker Anduin.
Yeah, it could be a lot more than 2 damage as well if he manages to slide it alongside Lyra at some point.
Oh yeah, like I said, Lyra, well, Hero Power, Lyra, coin.
2 damage.
And then Hero Power, Radiant, Hero Power,
yeah,
go.
It's a lot of damage lining up.
Yeah. It's kind of nuts.
And it's interesting how he did feel that that was a better way of doing it than just spamming Anduin immediately. He feels that it's quicker in the long run to do it the apparently slow way.
Yeah. And this is fine, this turn where the board is frozen. Yes, you miss out on damage if you Vardu. But now he can just say, well, you know, I lose my Raza to Anduin, but the Raza is frozen, and this damage he gains from Anduin, even this turn, almost makes up for a Raza hit in itself.
The little nod from Matty has been replicated by millions of Hearthstone players around the world in the last 3 months. Yeah, it's turn 8. I knew that was coming.
Even Holy Fire in Vardu's list, which means that it's even more damage that you wouldn't, you know, expect. Holy Fire, not going to shock anyone to see, but not common. It's not like in every single
Right, it's one of those
list.
tech choices, one of those interchangeable cards that...
Of which there are many, actually, in Raza Priest.
There's many, and... they're all very tight to being right or wrong. And I think a lot of it is personal experience. Do you think Holy Fire, are you going to play against a lot of Bone Mares today? If so, you know, you want it. If not, well, you want something better.
There we go. Glyph into Simulacrum. Yeah, is actually pretty huge. Just so you all know, Geist will not kill. Simulacrum.
0 out of 6 spells
That's not
towards
good.
the quest.
That's what I was wondering when you said, you know, the hand is progressing, but he's not got there with the quest. The Pyroblast, awkward. Even the Greater Arcane Missiles, awkward. Because that's just a lot of mana at this point.
Used to see 0 out of 6 without "see me" written underneath.
Or without, you know, turn 2. It's like,
Sure.
You're like, oh, well, you know, fair enough.
All right, so
Here
he's going
we
for this
go.
Lyra. It's challenging his opponent to do something about it.
This could literally just be game right now.
Yeah.
This is a fancy, fancy combo with a lot of damage. Powered Tentacles, a little bit expensive, but Vardu's got plenty more swings to be able to see if he can keep playing this.
Doing a
Second
lot
power
of damage with
tentacle.
his shooty man.
Shooty man. Is that what Anduin's called now?
Yeah.
Wow, okay. So there's still Mind Blast. Unfortunately, the Potion of Madness cannot be used because there's no enemy minion on board.
There's also no enemy
Mind
ice
Vision
block.
into Divine Spirit.
There's no ice block in hand or on the board.
Yeah.
So this is just terrifying.
Mind Blast's going to give him a favor here. Hang on, I'm confused as to what's catching up with what.
There's
Is
just
the hand done?
Yeah, the hand's slightly ahead of the board, I think. So
Okay, so I think the hand is done. That's it. So everything's been cast, everything's been used. There's a 3/10 Lyra, 3/2 Kazakas, and obviously the 2/3 Elemental onto the board. 3 health on Matty. If Vardu hadn't have got Shatter, Powered Tentacles,
Matty's going to go for this.
he has to.
It's going to be insane, though, right? It's almost impossible. We saw yesterday that things can go really strange.
Tell that to Aka Wonder if a tome is
Exactly.
impossible or not.
It's exactly that.
This tome
Okay,
needs to be
he needs another
quite
tome.
glorious. Or an ice block. Oh, no, it won't work because he can clear it. Oh.
And
Wait, he can get there, right? He's 2, so this will get him to 4. If he casts everything.
can he?
Oh, he can't freeze. Yeah, and he's got the 1 mana for the...
Wow.
Wait. Is this just game?
Yeah. There you go.
Wait. It's not right. You can't cast Antonidas and Shatter. He needs to draw a spell. Oh, now he can get the ice block. Or the barrier.
That's ridiculous.
With the Arcanologist.
Yeah, I figured that
Got a
he needed-
castable spell.
I forgot he had the 3 things in hand on top of the tome.
Yep. And... game!
Well done.
Great start from Vardu. A shake of the head there. There's not much you can do at this point. Matty did just about get the work done, even though he had effectively a couple of dead cards to actually try and get this quest done. The Pyroblast
Right, that's
from the
why I
Battling
thought he
Book.
couldn't do it. I
Yeah.
thought he needed another Cabalist tome because there was just so much dead stuff.
He just about got there because he got the Greater Arcane Missiles in early, just as like, okay, I'll cast this turn because I've got nothing else to do. So that was one. He got one a tiny bit earlier with the Glyph. But with the Vaporize, I think it was. And then the Tome just got him there. And the fact that his Arcanologist actually managed to pull him the Secret, which allowed him to proc the Fireball, because at that point of the turn ending and the Time Warp happening, he had no way to Antonidas and cast.
Yeah, and the tome had to be good to him
Yep.
in the same way that it wasn't good to players yesterday.
Yep.
And a 1-0 lead in the strangest of styles. But that is what that deck is built for, it is to take down that Priest.
Yeah, that was awfully quick, though.
And that
That
shows
was
you
out
how
of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you don't often see that early because they don't need to go for it that early. But when they do, it can happen like that.
Yep. Even with a blinding start there, and bear in mind, like I said, Vardu got tentacles, and a Shatter that were unplayable in that turn. He put his opponent to 3 with no ice block. But let's move on. Game number 2, Vardu versus Matty. Matty leading the way 1-0 with his Quest Mage. Vardu on the Aggro Druid now.
Aggro Druid is usually pretty tasty in this matchup, but Vardu has got an incredibly slow start. He's got all of his sort of techie stuff in his hand. Crazed Alchemist, an ongoing tech card that people love because it beats Doomsayer, but can sometimes slow you down. But here it could be really tasty. But he's just going that little bit slow.
It's a little bit. This is a really weird matchup. Aggro Druid normally can just explode onto the board and then just kill them. You just dead, especially because of the power of Savage Roar, right? The second the board sticks and there's no freeze, Savage Roar does, frankly, ludicrous levels of damage.
Right.
But there is Frost Nova. There is a Blizzard, there's some card draw, and there's Doomsayer that I think Matty's considering right now. Do I want to just drop a Doomsayer and deny the turn 3?
Yeah, that is the perennial question of when to do it. If you don't do it now, do you ever do it? You can wait till Frostnova Doomsayer on 5 is the other choice, but that's a long way off. When you know your opponent hasn't got a 1-drop in their hand, maybe you feel you can get there.
Yeah, also, the worry for the Frostnova Doomsayer turn is always just that the Spellbreaker.
Okay.
If it's played in Aggro Druid, because sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. The second that gets Spellbreakered, and then you've got no great follow-up, especially if you coin it out, it's very, very scary indeed. And a little trick that Vardu can do now with that Crypt Lord, he can flip it with the Alchemist to do an awful amount of burst damage.
He can do, a lot. It does lose his Doomsayer protection for later, so he's got to weigh those factors in.
That's true. I don't think you need to do it right now, because the idea is you want to build up the health on the Crypt Lord first, then flip and hit for like 12 plus. So he doesn't need to do it right now.
Just a casual 12.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, he's already on 8. Can go to 9 now with this Mark of the Lotus, so it's not far away. And now that this is going to be huge. Frostnova coin Doomsayer has to come out here from Matty. Vardu's going to be like, Doomsayer, I expected you. And then the Alchemist is going to flip that health and attack all the way around.
The Doomsayer is going to save a heck of a lot of damage here, though, because now he cannot flip the 9-2 that would be a 10-2.
Yeah, but yes.
But it's still there.
But the Alchemist, instead of flipping, has saved, what, 5 minions on board? And a bit more damage as well. So I think it works out pretty fine for Vardu here.
It does.
And now there's just Savage Roar. So there has to be Ice Block this turn. If there's Ice Block, that severely limits what you can do.
Yeah, just so much, over half of your mana for the turn.
It's like Ice Block, ping, great, whatever. He procs me anyway.
Do that thing that you did last game, Matty. Do it now. A little bit early.
A little bit early. Doing that on 5 mana seems really tough.
Seems really awkward.
That's why he's got to go for the barrier.
Do that thing.
I do like the barrier here.
Yeah. 2-4. It's a lot of damage.
I mean,
coming
he can. It's just lethal, right?
It's got to be. That's my considered answer to that.
He's got 29.
Savage War's 14 for sure.
29 for sure.
Cool.
I'd love it if I'm wrong now.
Well, it'll be less than that because he chose to test for the proc before playing the Savage War because he still has enough. That's how much he had in hand.
I think it was 29 without that, believe it or not. I just didn't count the 2. It was perfect! Genius! But that is going to be the lethal there, and Vardu got to feel bad when he took the loss there to the quest range, but that was a very quick answer and just say, right, Aggro Druid, boom, done.
Yeah, that's one way to get yourself perked back up in a hurry.
Well, yeah, 100%. See the Rogue and the Priest as the bans. Druid, Warlock for Vardu.
Wonder what these are. Matty doesn't seem comfortable with this. Like most people just pick their next deck instantly in these situations when last hero standing.
What do you think of the Zoo versus Aggro Druid matchup?
It's weird. Because Zoo used to just be okay there. Because it had enough movement. Now the Druid can get so wide sometimes that I think the Zoo needs to get those Void Walkers, etc., to make sure they can slow it down just that bit. Maybe get Soulfire to get into it, and then they're okay because they start making Dreadlords, but they can just get out-wided.
Out-wided. Interesting phrase I've not heard before, but I understand what you meant.
And that's why, I have to teach you guys these things.
Teach me how not to do things, I think. the
just learn from me by doing the exact opposite of everything I do.
Well, Matty has decided to not go for his Warlock, indeed going for the Druid instead. Keeping hold of the Plague is something I love. I've played a lot of Big Druid this past season, should I say. It's the 2nd of December or whatever today. And I felt against any aggro deck, if I got to Plague, I just won. And that sounds really stupid, but the card is so powerful. It doesn't just stall, it actually gains you the board a lot of the time.
Wow.
Like, the stats are actually more than I feel you should be allowed, is that the 5 health is such a big deal.
Yeah, I don't see what's wrong with gaining 30 health.
Yeah, it's alright.
Just between friends, keep it friendly.
Especially as well, aggro druid will always want to go wide because of cards like Savage Roar. It's not like, you know, in Zoo, sometimes the board is like Count Summon Doomguard.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, great, it soaks up a turn, but the Doomguard one kills one off and you don't get that many going wide. Aggro druid always goes wide. The rare occasion is if there's a board sweep and then a Hydra comes down.
Yeah, they
literally other than that, yeah.
How else do you use a Penguin?
Well, you run in cards that buff every minion on the board. You want more than one minion. Exactly the same, you know, when you're actually using Savage Roar. Buffs every minion on the board. Druid of the Swarm going to come down just to as the health.
Yeah, that just stops any minion combat ever happening to you.
2 mana Tar Creeper, more or less.
Yeah, definitely.
In its role in the deck.
Yeah, and it just means that it just defends all of your stuff for the entirety of the game.
Dirtiest of rats. There was a definite miss there if Matty pulled that Scalebane out.
Yeah, that would have been such a disaster for Matty. That's a good pickup. That gets you through a dirty rat in a hurry.
Does. I think Vardu at the moment just a little bit suffering from no buffs. No Savage Roar, no Mark of the Lowest, no Power of the Wild. And his board is looking pretty nice. His board would greatly benefit here if he could just get one buff at least.
And the Plague turn is ticking. I mean, Savage Roar just ends this. He's got to get there.
The wrong player drew Mark of the Lotus.
I was going to say, yeah, what Vardu would have given for that. Hard to really hit a good thing with that MC Tech. It's just literally a way of fighting for the board in this situation.
Yep. It's just the swing of -1 to you, +1 to me, minion-wise, right?
But he stole the Pirate.
Vardu was prepared.
He came prepared for you stealing Pirates.
This is clearly why he's in Galaka in the list. to wait for the MCT and then, ha! Jebaited.
Wait till we see his Treachery deck when the Warlock comes out.
Oh, God, I would love it. That'd be amazing.
Give you another Pirate and eat that one as well.
I was thinking about Treachery Doomsayer, but okay.
Yeah, that might be good. I wasn't thinking good. I was thinking
Pirate
funny.
Warlock.
Crabs.
With crabs.
Murlocs as well. You can play both crabs.
Horrible deck. Let's go for the poison now on the Druid of the Swamp.
I'm sat here. All right, ultimate wide board, and it's the turn before Spreading Plague. So he is playing to good outs of Savage Roar here. 2 of them. That's it.
Also as well, this board with the poison and with next turn the Scalebane buffing one of the minions.
Okay.
You're setting up to at least do something against the Spreading Plague. The Scalebane kills one. You'd imagine the minion the Scalebane hits, unless it's exactly the Druid of the Swarm Poisoner. Like, well, that kills another one. And then you have the poison. So there's 3 down. You can kill another one between the other minions. It's like, you know, 4 out of, what, 6? Definitely not a bad turn.
And
not a bad
up
answer
to whether
play.
Matty has a follow-up to that, which at the moment he kind of does. But I know Malfurion is really good, but it's not perfect in that situation by any means.
Just buys him time.
And so he is actually just going to Nourish here. If my opponent has Savage Roar, I lose. So let's set up for when he doesn't have Savage Roar and get my Plague ready.
Yeah, there was nothing he could have really drawn to save him anyway, if he went for cards. Vardu, you have to draw something quite crazy. Yeah, Scalebane go.
Yeah.
I think you might actually
Do you bump
consider
something in, yeah?
I'm wondering whether you just trade the 3/4 away.
It's a choice with the 3/4 on the Spider because it is 2 damage to face you're giving away by doing it that way. I realise we can see there's a Spreading Plague. He cannot. So he's got to also factor in the occasion where there isn't a Plague. You've still got to kill them before they draw it.
The Spider, okay. I was just thinking, like, even without Spreading Plague, you've just seen your opponents do nothing and chose to ramp.
Sure.
So he's ramping to something, right? He would have drawn if he literally had a dead hand. So he's ramping to something, and what is, you know, what's going to happen on turn 8? You're thinking of Malfurion, you're thinking of even potentially, because he wasn't at 6, Jade Behemoth.
Sure.
Just something you want to punch through. And he does have the power to do that, but to just have like a 1/2, maybe Jade Behemoth Wrath was worst case scenario. You just Wrath the 1/2, and then the Jade Behemoth is more of a problem.
Matty doing that thing that you should always do, that I always point out when this sort of turn happens, is weighing up his options, despite the fact one of the cards looks significantly better than the others. Yeah, he's going to go this way.
Yeah, what he's doing here is just getting Malfurion down, One, the earlier you get Malfurion down, the more value it gets over the course of the game. You can hero power more often. These 2 taunts save enough damage, he hopes, that then, like I said, Druid always wants to go wide. They play more minions, then you spread in Plague and can hero power behind it.
Now, Vardu has some thinking to. He's going to play the card draw, obviously. That's not the thinking part, but he's going to think, would Matty have played Plague if he had it? Like, there are situations where you can rule out him having Plague and you can go all in. And he's going to spend most of his turn trying to work out if this is one of those situations. And if he gets it wrong, he's going to play into the world's biggest spreading Plague.
I think he can afford to because of the Scale Bane. The Scale Bane is, on average, making a minion be able to trade.
Once per turn, sure.
So I think because of the Scale Bane and because you are playing aggro Druid, you go wide. Savage Roar draws, buff draws, Scale Bane. All of these draws and all of these effects help you punch through. He can already kill 3.
Yeah.
3 of the 5 are dead. And then he can kill the 4th. Definitely now because the buff hit the 3/3, but he also had the Pirate and the Raven hit through the 4th. 1/1/5 lives. What a shame when your board has only taken 1 damage each minion.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of shames, I don't think we've cast a single shaman.
No, I haven't. That's a shame.
It is. Yeah.
Cast loads of hunters, though.
Is that also just a lie?
That's just a dig at you.
Why?
I don't know, because it was easy. Because you're a Hunter fan, right? At heart?
Is it a dig at me that Hunter isn't good at the moment? It's not like my fault.
Are you sure about this?
I mean, I build the best Hunter decks, so I know what you're talking about. Spreading Plague does come down, though. Matty's got a choice between the Jade Blossom, just to make his Jades bigger. The ramp does nothing at this point. Or he can use this hero power. I wonder whether he actually hero powers down to 6/3. Yeah, I was going to say, you take the damage. Aggro Druids aren't probably playing Swipe at the moment, and this allows 1 less trade. Like I said, it's all about how many can you follow up kill with the Spreading Plague. Vardu, bit of a dead draw there. Just a little pirate.
Yeah, quite a bit of a dead draw.
Vardu's played this game with 0 buffs, right?
Yeah.
He's not drawing a single
In a minute,
buff.
it's just going to go absolutely off the charts.
Savage Roar, mark the lowest go.
Yeah. But he's running out of time. I mean, he's getting very close to winning, so he's fine at the minute, but...
But the benefit here is, what does Matty do that isn't Spreading Plague that keeps him alive?
Yeah, he can't Ultimate Infestation because he dies. That's the best way to play against Ultimate Infestation.
Oh. Jade Spirit isn't going to do it.
Oh, because the buff went on the same minion, does that slow things down?
No, the buff went on the 4/7 now. Buff went on the play.
I missed the days when I could see straight.
Yep. The Crab's been 5/4 for a while.
Yep.
So the Crab can kill 1. The Plague Dude can kill 1. Not Plague Dude, Crypt Lord, sorry.
Crypt Man.
And then there's a Living Mana, and you've just seen Spreading Plague. There's a little bit of a worry. You've seen 1 Spreading Plague, but you've also just seen your opponent draw a huge chunk of his deck.
You have indeed, and it's not quite lethal. Somehow.
You just do it, right? Hero power. Mana, go. You just have to. Because as I said, he's drawn 0 buffs.
Yep.
0 savage draws. Because of how small this Living Mana is, he easily has the mana to play anything next turn. So he's not even restricted on that front.
Yeah, both players making really good decisions about got to do this if my opponent has it, unlucky. It's easy for us to make those decisions because we can see the hands.
Also, as well, small benefit here is the ghoul can't kill itself off. So there's 1 less taunt than there are minions on the Druid side, which is actually, that can make and break a game too.
So many buffs left in Vardu's deck. That's why we're not panicking yet about how far behind he should be here. But it's just starting to, well, it's started to turn the corner with that second Plague.
And it's a buff. Oh yeah, he did actually drop Mark of Yasharaj earlier, but that doesn't count.
That's not a buff. I mean a board, yeah.
There we go. About time for Vardu. And he's going to chunk through a lot of these minions now. And he knows that's both Spreading Plagues gone. I am not fast enough to work out exactly how these trades work.
I'm just
especially as the buff was just drawn, so I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the show.
So if killing everything is like AoE for area effect, like what's buffing everything? Like BOE, buff of everything?
Oh, but you can't use BOE. BOE is already a thing.
Oh, okay.
Bind on Equip.
Wow.
It's on most MMOs/RPGs.
So where do we go from there? Back to the game?
BOU. Buff on use.
Buff on use. That's very
Still
technical.
single,
it's
though,
not
isn't it?
fun. Hearthstone's going to be fun, not technical.
Okay, buff champ.
Okay, buff champ it is. BC. Played BC effects.
There you go. Still a huge board left. There's no swipe for Matty. Can he just draw swipe?
Well, you can try.
No, well, he could have gone for Nourish. How many cards did he have, actually? What, 3, 6? Okay.
You can try again.
Yep. I don't mind trying again.
If at first you don't succeed.
He isn't planning to try again, though, right? He's going to just play dirty right now?
Yeah.
Your magic shall not save you.
Might.
Oh, whoops, I'm just kicking equipment, sorry.
So totally out of stuff, Vardu.
Yeah, these armor ups are getting awfully scary now. There's another buff.
There's another buff.
BC.
Wow. You integrate quickly. I could never integrate at all. Couldn't differentiate between the two things. Well, he's got through it all, but at what cost? That is the problem now.
A lot of health for Matty, that's what cost.
Yeah. Yeah, he just made 9, I think, or 6. Plenty either way.
Can push for 3. Now, basically now Vardu is just please no swipe, please no swipe, please no swipe.
No J Behemoth either.
He cannot face tank the crab. So the 4-3 has to go for the crab. I wouldn't even mind Nourish draw here.
There's a lot of... We haven't seen a swipe yet, right?
I don't think we've seen any swipes. I don't think we've seen any wraths. Both of those are pretty huge.
Yeah. They're gigantic right now.
Yeah. $17 damage on the board right now with the hero power from Vardu.
He's on 8. He needs to get rid of a lot of that damage, is the point.
There's a J Behemoth, but not playable. There's a Wrath.
And it is playable and cyclable.
Yeah, he can Wrath down the 7-1 and draw, which is huge. But he is almost certainly planning on armoring up in some way. Oh, swipe 1 mana out. Now there's only 5, but he can armor up and get that Jade down. See, this Nourish was actually pretty huge. Both players got this far into the game with key cards missing for the matchup on either side. No buffs for Vardu to late game.
He's got it.
That was
draw.
it. Okay. Buff champ. Savage draw gets him. Fist pump from Vardu. I was just saying that both players didn't get to some key cards they really needed. The swipe would have been amazing 1 to 2 to 3 turns ago for Matty. Buffs would have been amazing super early on for Vardu, but he didn't get them till later. But when he did, I think he went, what, like Mark of the Lotus, Power of the Wild, Savage Rule.
Yeah, he just...
So, just about...
PC'd his way through him.
Yeah. Any later, and I think that would have been game the other way round. But Vardu is going to make it work with this aggro druid, and he is on to sweep with this deck. 3-0 with this deck. Did obviously lose earlier.
Had some crazy games of Hearthstone in this tournament. I know it's kind of my job to say that, but we really have. There's so much back and forth in all of these games.
The mandate of our job is to say we have had crazy games, but we actually have.
There you go.
Now we're just proving it. Yeah.
Now we've both just proved it.
And here we go. Game number 4. Vardu versus Matty. Round number 9 of the Hearthstone Grand Prix here.
The most important, well, all the rounds are equally important technically, but it's the one that feels the most important because this is the one where you've spent all day playing to get to, and if you're still in the tournament at this point, you just do not ever want to lose at this stage.
Yep.
If you're going to lose, you'd rather go 0-3 and just go home early.
And this specific game, this matchup is going to be an old-fashioned slobber knocker, as there is Keleseth ready for Matty there, and it is Zoo versus the aggro druid. They are going to be battling for the board. Soulfire, absolutely huge here for Matty. Tempo Soulfire. When I was playing a lot of Zoo not too long ago, and I was looking at win rates of cards. And in so many of these board-centric matchups, Soulfire got an extremely high win rate when played, you know, early on, basically.
that does
or
not
even
surprise
had in
me.
opening hand, because you just play that 1 mana, tempo is mine, friend.
Yeah, you get the tempo, you get control of the board because of that tempo, and then you haven't taken any damage, so then you can use the life tap to just recover the cards that have been thrown away anyway.
Yeah, and this is the exact opposite of a play we saw yesterday, where Keleseth is now skipped for a 1-drop on turn 2 just to make that trade happen and say, no, Mr. Vardu, you are not playing Mark of Yasharaj on this Raven and making things awkward. I will take 1 less turn of Keleseth buff to keep the board. And now 2 2-1s challenge almost anything that Vardu can even play. Hence, the hero power now. Really nice play from Matty there. I like it.
Yeah, let's see how it works out for him, but it does look like a good player. I like it a lot to start with.
But worst case, absolute worst case, Keleseth Soulfire. Not exactly the worst turn in the world.
Vardu's going to be in an okay spot as well, though. If he can just fight one more time with this board, it's just showing how good it is.
Yeah, a bit of an update here. We have Onid, the French player.
Oh, yeah.
Is the second player to make it into top 16. He went 8-1 through the Swiss with a record of 26-7.
That's ridiculous.
Pretty good.
It's also his 3rd top 16 at DreamHack. He's only played 3 that I can find.
Oh, pretty good.
I found an 0-1 that was lurking around, but that tends to mean the player didn't even show.
Yeah, is that 100% then? Is that what you're telling me? The 100% top 16 performance?
As far as I know, yeah.
Onid's a god.
He's got 23 wins and 7 losses. I think one of those, I think there might be an 0-1 thrown in there. Again, that sometimes means a player didn't even get here, defaulted round 1.
Yeah, absolutely huge there. So as I said, he is going to be in the top 16, but let's find out who's going to be doing well in this series. Vardu now, so we just sort of skipped over a turn there. Just started developing this Direwolf and the Pirates to get a trade going onto Keleseth. Now Matty is going to work out what his response is. Does have South Sea Captain and Soulfire as that combo we talked about earlier.
Yeah,
That's
just
Patches,
in danger of losing his board, but Patches should be fine. Going back to Unity, he's actually made top 4 at one of the DreamHack Winters previously. So this is obviously a good event for him.
I can't remember. Was that
last year? It was one that Mitsuhide won.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And he's a player that you bump into a lot on the HCT as well, isn't he? He's, you know, just from
always
time to
knocking
time,
about.
just pops up.
I would say he's outside of Tars. He's probably one of the more prolific French players, right? You know, because that scene is very closed off a lot of the time. But Unid does make the effort.
Wow.
Now that's
Needed that urgently.
that's a draw. So I'm going to call that one.
I'm going to call it crab.
Gobbling up the South Sea Captain. And now there's just poor old Patches on the board.
And Patches turned into a 2-2.
Oof.
And again, just showing how much the board matters for those of you who, you know, don't play this all the time like we do. Like, everything matters. They're just ignoring the text on the cards at this point, apart from eating pirates, and just making sure they have something out there.
This turn is super awkward here for Matty. Like, this would have been a great turn to Soulfire the Crab for that tempo we talked about, but that means his turn is Malkazar's Soulfire Hope for a card that you're going to use. And that would have been very weak indeed.
Even look.
That's a buff. It's a pretty good turn.
It's a pretty good turn in a game we've been talking about. He's got a minion, he's got a minion. Oh, he's trying to get next to me. No, just here's a board full of minions.
This might just be game at this point, to be completely honest. Warlock, or Zeus specifically, does not really have a way to battle back on this kind of board. Very nice that the Malkazar's Imp is big enough to actually trade with these 3/3s and live to fight another day. And now there's even the Flame Imp as well. So, yeah, it's got minions that can get some work done here. But this Savage Roar looks a little bit shaky. Do you actually want to make that trade?
Oh, no. Is it enough? He'll have added this up, surely. So
19. Oh, no, because you can't hero power.
So
18.
18, so...
I like hitting people for 18.
It's a lot. Does he ever get the last 3 through? I guess you get the last 3 through your hero power.
Ah, yeah,
with a
of course.
dog, with anything.
You've already seen one Voidwalker.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely got to consider what you're doing, though, because your opponent's out of stuff as well. If you can make some good trades here, you've got to work it out.
Smorkum. What good trades are there?
Not many.
The 5/1, if you leave it up, always gets a good a trade up because it's already one ahead.
Hit it with your face. Then it's dead.
Wait, he's not Savage Roaring.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Let's see how it looks at the end of the turn.
So he's going to double trade into the imp, right? Wait. Oh, the wolf. Okay, okay. This is actually pretty good.
Right.
I take it back. I actually forgot about the +1 effect on the living mana.
This is also pretty good. Look at this sequence of events, though. Matty needed something to do right then. He got something to do right then.
Cost him Gul'dan, though.
Follow-up is huge.
Yeah, the Doom Guard needed, but cost him Gul'dan. There is none of that. Okay, I'm playing Gul'dan, then I win. That is out of the window right now. And instead, Matty's going to try and work something. Bone Mare, very, very nice card, but all of these minions have been buffed in one way or another now. And the Scalebane, not technically, but he's a pretty buff dude anyway, so. So it's a clean trade with the living mana. 4 damage from the crab. Savage Roar, make it 6, +2 from the druid to go to 8, +1 will go to 9. Still not quite enough.
Prevent the tapping, though, if you want.
Well, now, Scalebane, trade those 6-1 into 10-5, and then just push for 4. The Scalebane buffs the crab, makes a positive trade both ways. So I really like that.
See if he goes with that. Makes a lot of sense.
Yep. I'm going to follow up with the crab just for 1 extra minion. Savage Roar is going to be really nice to pressure with that extra dude. And now it doesn't guarantee the buff. Okay, yep. So there is a clean trade for the Bone Mare now. Soulfire is pretty nice, actually. But this Savage Roar is the scary part.
It's more than scary. It's absolutely terrifying.
Where does the trade go? Okay. It's 5 damage. Sorry, 7.
Yeah.
There's the fist pump. We've seen Vardu hit multiple times. Mark of Yasharad, shake of the head from Matty. Vardu, 1 more fist pump for good luck, a shake of the hand, and he did take the match. That aggro druid performing extremely well for him there, getting the work done. There was the quest mage game right at the beginning, so that was a shaky start. Got to be a little bit upsetting for Vardu there, but that aggro druid, wow. Every time just about got what he needed to get the job finished. And Matty was definitely put on the back foot there. That Doom Guard was a great pull, but when you're discarding Gul'dan, how do you ever beat the Druid when they're already ahead on board? Very difficult indeed.
And difficult for that lineup to actually beat aggro Druid. So, you know, sometimes you do have to leave this little weakness to try and win a tournament and hope you don't bump into it. He bumped into it, and unfortunately for Matty, it's a 6-3 finish, a commendable finish, but not quite enough.
Yeah, definitely a strong effort there, but he's not going to be able to make it. Vardu is putting himself in a very strong position. And speaking of strong positions, we've just had a note that Zananananananananan is 8-1.
Oh.
So, as well as Swaggermeist as well. So we're going to be almost certainly, I would say, you know, you're the master of Swiss and the numbers, but those guys look like they are feeling pretty good to go into the top 16.
Zanananananan was 8-2 total in the top 16 last time. So he went 8-1 at Winter, at Summer as well. So he's got 2 8-1s in a row. Failed in the top 16 last time, which upset Gaskin because he loves that name. But this time around, he's going to get a second go at it. Just straight back to the next DreamHack he can get to. Bosh, let's do it again. And we saw all about Swaggermeister earlier. So
yeah, and I think it's just very impressive overall. And I honestly believe that hitting top 16 in a